Hello everyone, welcome back to Speaking Spurs, with me Kieran talking all things Tottenham in what has become a bit of an unideal situation. So, we'll get on to Spurs in a sec with all the stories, but if you don't mind, just beforehand, I'll quickly tell you a little bit about this week for me. So, me and the other boss at work, we're both new. She's now off with some much needed holiday, so she's away for the week. I'm covering the early and the late. So I'm doing a few extra hours this week, which is fine. Just a bit of a longer week, but don't worry, I'll get that time back and I shall book some holiday in for myself at some point. Then, as it's a Wednesday, I pick my daughter up after I finish work, so we went and had something to eat. We watched one of our programmes together, and I was thinking, oh, I'll have time to go off and do my daily video. And then I get a phone call from my sister. Kieran, I've locked myself out. And I'm thinking, brilliant. What do you want me to do about it? Well, the spare keys at mum's. Right, and mum and dad, they couldn't go bail her out because they're in London today at the theatre watching, I think it's called Get Up, Stand Up, which is the Bob Marley musical. So I'm looking forward to see what they've got to say about that because love a bit of Bob Marley, grew up on it. My dad is a massive reggae fan. So hopefully they're enjoying themselves. I did see on Facebook that they had dinner in Chinatown. Mum hasn't been well the last few days, but I think she perked up a bit today, treated herself to a Chinese, and then off for dinner and a show. So I had to drive to me mum's. Luckily, I'm very close by. It's only down the road. So I went and picked up the keys from mum's, dropped them off to me sister so she can get in, and then thought, well, I might as well drop my daughter off on the way home. Luckily, I had my football stuff in the car because I've got football training. So this was by about 10 past, 7:15 that I managed to get the keys to my sister, drop my daughter off, and now I'm actually sitting at where I'm going to play football tonight. So behind me over there where you can see the floodlights, that's actually a 3G pitch. So that's where I'm going to be playing tonight, which is also outside here, which, if you can see around there, can I get it around further enough? Oh, I don't know. But anyway, where I train, for those of you that know the lower leagues, I train in Chelmsford, where I live, basically next to Chelmsford City Football Club. So that's where I am today, Chelmsford City Football Club, and I can hear in the background one of the teams of Chelmsford City. I don't know whether it's, the first team or one of the youth teams. There's definitely noise going on. Someone scored a goal a minute ago because they're all cheering. So that's where I am. Luckily, I've got my football stuff in here, so I'm going to have to awkwardly get changed in the car before football. So yeah, that's been my day. But now back to you guys. The video went down well. I'm glad you enjoyed the fact that you're getting more content that's not just talking about game analysis. So we'll start in it. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. It has slowed down quite a lot recently, but somebody did mention in the comments that they seem to have had problems themselves with YouTube. They couldn't manage to find my channel. My videos weren't popping up on their feed. They had to search me by name. So for those of you that do want to search me, you can either type in my name, Kieran Bacon, and it will come up there, or you can now type in Speaking Spurs because the name of the channel has officially changed to Speaking Spurs, seeing as that's what this is. So anyway, right into it. Ben Davies has pulled out of the Wales squad for the World Cup qualifiers. I don't know what the extent of the injury is because I haven't been able to have a full look into it. So that's not great news to start it off with, but thought we'd get it out of the way before we move into the other bits. So, an interesting one about a former player, actually. Sandro, he has come out and said that his biggest regret in football is leaving Tottenham Hotspur. So, we all know he was a bit of a cult hero at the club. We loved him. Had a bit of trouble with injuries, so we sold him to QPR when he had, 2 years left on his contract, and they got him for an absolute snippet of 6 million. And his career just kind of didn't get any better from there. He had all his injuries and stuff. They got worse. And had he stayed under Poch and fought for his place, who'd have known what would have happened to him? So yeah, he regrets that one. He said he was in a good place with the fans. He enjoyed the players. He liked everyone there. But I think the fact that he'd struggled for playing time, he just kind of gave up, got the ump and said, I want to go, and then pretty much regretted it from there on out. So that was a nice little story to have a little look at today. Okay, so back onto transfers, because it just seems to be that we're getting links every single day. The list is growing, as it always does with Spurs. So we have interest in Stoke City defender Harry Suter. I think that's how you pronounce it. So apparently our scouts have been sent to watch him. So for those of you that don't know, he is an Australian international. He's 22 years old. He stands at 6'7", so he's not small at all. Stoke fans do not want him to go whatsoever. He's a prize asset of theirs. They absolutely love him. But they are convinced that should he join Spurs, he would do really well for the club and probably be one of our best centre-backs. So yeah, 22 years old. He was born in Aberdeen. He began his career at Celtic and Dundee in their youth academies. Then he was promoted to the senior team with Dundee. Then he moved to Stoke, and since then he's had loan moves with Ross County, Fleetwood Town twice, and now he's in the Stoke squad, doing very, very well in the Championship. He's represented Scotland at under 17 and under 19 level, and then switched to switched over to be an Australian international and represented them at under 23s, and he's now a full international. I think he's only got something like 4 or 6 caps, but nonetheless, looks like a good player. Knows the English game. Young. Probably won't cost us too much because he's going to come from a Championship club. So that'll be an interesting one to look at and see how that develops amongst the humongous list of centre-backs that we are looking at. Next one, it's another centre-back. We still apparently want Rudiger. So even after our failed attempts in the summer, we're still looking at him. I can't see this one going through because since Lampard left, he's become a key man for Thomas Tuchel. And for him to leave, I feel like it needs to be a Champions League club. There will be competition from other clubs. So I just can't see it happening at all. He hasn't penned a new deal yet, but he may be waiting to see if anything big comes in. So, next thing we will talk about is the international break. So, those South American players are going to be causing us headaches once again. So, as we know from the last international, South American players went away. They then had to come back and isolate, which if they would have done it in England would have meant they wouldn't have been able to train properly. They'd have been on their own, in their rooms all day. So, we flew them out to Croatia, which gave them a better scenario where they could train together. I don't know where they're going to train this time, whether they're allowed to come back to Hotspur away or not straight away. But it's causing problems because we wanted them to leave international duty early so they could isolate in time for Newcastle. That's not going to happen. Apparently it's being blocked. The international teams are refusing to let them leave early, so expect them to all to miss the Newcastle game. And it's not just F3. Before, it was just Lo Celso, Romero and Davinson Sanchez. Now, to add that to that list, Emerson Royale has been called up to the Brazil squad. And I suppose we're lucky that Lucas Moura hasn't been called up, although I think he's played well enough recently to warrant it. I feel like his back end of last season was fairly decent for us. He had a good pre-season. He's been fine since we've started this season. He's probably unlucky to miss out. He's a player with an abundance of talent, and he's just not... He's kind of not hit his full potential, which is really annoying. He'll be very frustrated with that himself. So, luckily he hasn't gone. So, we're only going to be missing the 4 of them. But still, Royale is sort of merging his way into the squad. Romero looks like he's going to be a starter. Lo Celso has been impressive in the last couple of games. And Sanchez is pretty much our first man to cover at centre-back, as I'm assuming Romero is going to be the guy that pushes forward. However, Romero looked like he was limping the other night, and I know he hasn't come through any games unscathed yet. So we'll see what happens with him on international duty. Hopefully he doesn't come back with an injury of any kind. Next one, Matthias Ginter. He stands at 6'2", 27 years old. You should know him already because he's a World Cup winner for Germany. He could be available. Now, I don't know what the price will be, but Borussia Mönchengladbach director Max Ebrel, I don't know, I can't read my own writing then. But yeah, their director has come out and said that they couldn't offer Ginter a new contract that would match the level that he's at as a fully fledged international because of the financial constraints that happened during the pandemic. They did very well to fend off interest from the likes of us, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid and Inter Milan in the summer. They may be able to offer him a new deal now because cash flow has started coming back in. Now fans are allowed back in the stadium. They can start, selling food and drink as well inside the stadium, holding events and things like that. So they may be able to get some money back. As to whether he's going to want to stay, knowing that there's going to be interest from top clubs around Europe, I don't know. But again, it's a situation where we're in there amongst some of the elite. And they're just not going to come to us, these players. They're stuck in the stupid Europa Conference League. So we're really going to have to make a statement this year if we're to get anybody over the line. But, you know, his experience would definitely help us. He started his youth career at SV March and then SC Freiburg. He then went on to become a fully fledged player at Freiburg, moved to Borussia Dortmund, then across to Borussia Mönchengladbach. He represented Germany at under 18, 19, 21 and 23 level, became a full international, and as I've said, became a World Cup winner with them. And that was the 2014 World Cup in Brazil. Look, very good player. I don't really understand why he's at Borussia Mönchengladbach, really. He deserves a better club than that, in my opinion. He should be playing at the top level constantly. Would I take him? Yes, I would. He's at a good age for a centre-back to come in. Bags of experience, World Cup winner. You know, what more can you say about the guy? He'd be a great addition. Next one, we are interested in Cagliari midfielder. That's interesting. I didn't even write his name. After all that, I didn't even write his name. But anyway, we're interested in a Cagliari midfielder, 25 years old. Wow. See what I mean? It was a long day at work. So, yes, somebody let me know in the comments below because I can't remember his name. But they wouldn't let him leave in the summer. President Tommaso Giulini has promised to negotiate a transfer in January. Napoli and Inter are also looking at the player. He's a Uruguay international. So if that helps anybody out, let me know in the comments below. Wow, I've had an absolute stinker there. Sorry, guys. Long day. And I'm going to end on this one because it's about a Spurs player. So we spoke yesterday about Harry Winks and the possibility of him leaving. Now, the Spurs player in question that I'm going to talk about today is Troy Parrott. So we know that he's gone on loan to MK Dons in League One, which is the club that we signed Dele Alli from. We played them in pre-season. Troy Parrott went on loan to them and he's done quite well for them. He's got 3 goals in 8 games. It's not a bad return, but it's his all-round play that the staff there have been impressed with. And the Spurs coaching staff themselves have been very impressed with his all-round game and see him as Harry Kane's successor. Now, to the point where they have urged Spurs and Daniel Levy not to go out and sign a top-class striker, which seems a bit strange because why would you want to hold your club back? It's clear that Troy Parrott is not ready to hit the heights in the Premier League yet, but they are worried signing a top-class striker would block his route into the first team. Now, I have no problems with him signing a top-class striker, but I think the way they should approach it is look maybe more at what Manchester United have done. So, Manchester United sign Edinson Cavani, world-class striker on the older side of things. So maybe we should look at somebody that's a very, very good striker that is of a higher age. So then it doesn't block Troy Parrott's path into the first team in the long run. It gives him a chance to learn against a top professional. So he's not just learning from Harry Kane or get another aspect of things to learn from, which is great. But it's good to see that he's doing well because the loan spells from last season really didn't work out in the Championship. So he's obviously had to step down to League One. It seems to suit him at the moment. Now, do I think he's got the potential to be a top-class striker in the Premier League? Who knows? But Harry Kane was one that we used the loan system for very well. And look where he is. He's one of the best strikers in the world. And at one point, he wasn't even somebody we were really seeing that could be the future of Spurs' attack. So it could be a similar story with Troy Parrott. Certainly not going to write him off. At the end of the day, he's a fully fledged international for Ireland now, in the Ireland squad again. He's doing very well where he is. Hopefully, he can be the man to take over from Harry Kane. We will see what the future holds for him. So I'm going to end it on that because it's a positive note because we love it when somebody comes through the ranks and does us proud. So hopefully he's the next one to really break through alongside Oliver Skipp in the future. And obviously Dane Scarlett we know is a fantastic talent. I do think he's going to have to go out on loan and earn his stripes. So thanks for sticking around, guys. That's your video for today. There will be another one tomorrow. No doubt we will be linked again with the world and his mate because that's just the way it is at Spurs at the moment, especially with Paratici in charge of transfers. The guy is an absolute merry-go-round when it comes to transfers. So thanks for sticking around. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get us to that 1,000 subscriber mark. Like the video, support it with some comments, and I'll get back to you. The conversations are always good amongst you guys and girls that represent this channel. So thank you very much. Take care. And until tomorrow, come on you Spurs.